Hello, this is Mad Cat, the angry egalitarian that discusses this and that. Today is the third video I'm doing on the whole Honey Badgers Expo Gate thing. Now, they just did a Nerdcast, which was very disheartening, about their experience of it. Each of them got to talk. That was so hard to watch, I've been fans of the Honey Badgers since the beginning of 2014. I've become friends with some of them, many of them, or all of them, I guess. Yeah, I'm friends with all of them. I'm sorry, I'm just a little distraught right now, and it's so hard to see them like this. They are. I mean, there are those who are usually helping me because I'm so down and out, and they're trying to tell me that I need to be positive in my experience. And, it's like I really want to be there for them. And I guess that's why I'm doing this. One, in part, that, everyone can get a chance to really know what was said on that. And also, because I think someone needs to sing their song. Someone needs to really carry on the fight. Speak what needs to be spoken, what most want to silence. I did this for Cytheria. I'm doing this for the Honey Badgers. I do this for myself. So let me go ahead and go into this. We'll start with Allison. Now, the problem is, hold on one moment. Okay, so there was a lot of cutting in and out. There was some audio issues at the beginning of it. So there's a lot of things that we weren't able to get. Allison, as hard as it was for her to be in front of the camera like that, she got back in front of the camera at the end and tried to give a recap. And, Allison, I love you. You are an amazing, great person. And I really feel lucky to know you and to see you do what you did, knowing how hard that was for you. That's just, I have admiration for you, respect and admiration. I always have, but I really have it now. So I'm going to kind of go through a couple of things that I could pick out from all of this. This was a little bit hard on me to listen and to try to write things down at the same time, so I probably didn't get everything that I needed to. So Friday, she kind of heard something was going down when she first got to the con. This was the second day. Felt something was kind of in the air as she walked to the table, like she knew something was going to happen. A staff came up to her and told her that she had to leave. When asked why, they wouldn't tell her unless she returned off the recording device. She gave it to Hannah. They separated her from the others, but she was able to take her husband with her. She was told that she was charged with harassment, the group was, and they were told to leave immediately. Now, you'll notice that the Calgary Expo said that they asked them to leave. In this instance, they were told to leave. And I 100% believe Allison on this. This is not something she would lie about. Besides that, as I mentioned in a previous video, if they were asked to leave, they would have refused. They would have stayed. They had their badges taken away. They packed up everything they could to get going. Of course, there was a lot of stuff there, and they were trying to really push them out of the door. Kind of had to make multiple trips, and there was the issue with the badge, and they couldn't exactly leave and come back in, but they gave special permission to Allison's husband that he could leave, go get the car, bring the stuff in, get everything filled up as best they can. Now, she mentioned that, it really didn't hit her. All of this was happening until the next day. She went to a store to get a cable for a camera, and she felt everyone was looking at her. Now, she's from Calgary. And, the day after, she really felt like she lost her home and her community. So, I mean, I kind of know what that's like. But I won't go in. This is not my story. This is theirs. I'll probably tell that story one of these days, but I know a lot of what that is like. Now, on the charge of it being an infiltration, she did talk about that. First and foremost, they knew the honey badgers were there. It was in the program. They showed the program itself, and there was a listing saying the honey badger radio. It was on their badges. The expo knew they were there. They weren't sneaking in. In fact, there was some problems with the name initially. She originally registered with Xenospora. Then they decided to do the honey badgers. She didn't at first change it, and ended up calling the expo to get the name changed. And so, there was no sneaking in. There was no infiltration. The expo knew they were going to be there. There was no question about it. And the thing is that she made a display that was put up there, and that ended up getting destroyed. It was wonderful. She spent months working on it. I saw some of her earlier stuff that she was working on. She was working on LED lights and different materials and stuff like that. She printed up this big display. She wanted people to see it. She wanted to bring people happiness, people to give them joy. She wanted to create a safe space. She wanted to be there all 4 days. So the idea that they were trying to sneak in and infiltrate and do things like that, no. If you get a chance, watch the stream, but she was in tears. So, she doesn't want anyone to ever be afraid to express themselves, to be who they are. And that is the great thing about Alice. And that's a great thing about all of them. But, she also lost her ability to really present her comic at a convention. This is her livelihood. This is what she does. I'm a writer. That's like someone telling me that I can't go to Phoenix Comic-Con and present myself as a writer, that I'm banned from there. No one has told me that yet, although some people have blocked me on Twitter because I admit that, I'm associated with the Gamergate as a writer, and they decided that I'm somehow an evil, awful person, even though they knew me to be a good person before that. Hannah spoke. At first, we couldn't really hear Hannah, but then they fixed the audio issue. She had hoped that when guards and whatever talked to Allison, they would have seen that she was a very reasonable person, and would have given her the benefit of the doubt. Would have said, okay, well, yeah, we are getting these complaints, but it doesn't seem like you're really here to do that. Just be aware, blah blah blah. No, they just pretty much kicked her out. Also seems like they wanted to get rid of the group in secret, and this was something that Brian talked about, although it's not really stated what their intention were. They believe that either they wanted to get them out because they were an embarrassment and didn't want anyone to see, or try to protect their dignity and let them leave before anyone saw. It could be either or. Something that Hannah said that was very poignant, that we are guilty of thinking men as being human. The feminists accused the Honey Badger Brigade of not doing anything but sit at home and complain. And the Honey Badger Brigade actually did something. They, wearing their banner, they actually went to the convention and tried to show the world, the feminists, the social justice warriors, what they were about, and they were immediately kicked out. There is the picture that Hannah took of Allison wearing her banner out, comparing it to basically the Scarlet Letter, although Hannah says that this is really a badge of honor. You know, and they're accused, the honey badgers are accused of damseling because they admit that it hurts and it affects them. Hannah calling this bullshit, and it is fucking bullshit. Something affects you and you're public about it. Hey, you know, someone said this and I felt affected by that. That's not damseling. Damseling is when you say, oh, well, this person was greatly affected and we should all band up together and just believe exactly what she says without considering any other circumstance. That's not what happened here. The exact opposite happened. They got kicked out and everyone said we should take the side of the expo and not question it. If anything, the expo, what the feminists gave the expo damseling or whatever. The honey badgers are not damseling themselves. They're not victimizing themselves. They're just publicly saying how they feel for this. This was very traumatizing for them. And I know them to be very tough people and that they don't want it to affect them like this. But getting to sit down and actually get in front of the camera and talk about it, yeah, it's going to affect them. It's going to affect anyone. Something else that Hannah said. Allison is allowed to pursue a career, but not allowed to have feelings about it. You know what? Fuck you. That's what she said. She's very angry about this. She hasn't really gotten out there to talk to anyone about this. Because she wants to give a chance, get the anger out of her system before she really talks about any of this. Mike, I didn't get a whole lot from Mike. He kind of felt that this was going to happen, but didn't expect it to happen so quickly. He really wanted to talk to more people at the expo, you know, get his comic out there, meet the patrons, meet some people who might have been interested that didn't know anything about it, and just talk to other people just for the sake of geeking out. Karen, she states that each of the members of the Honey Badgers have a faith in humanity, that, you know, there is good out there. Karen is not one of those people. She knew that they would be kicked out. She knew that it was basically a matter of time. It wasn't a question of if, but when. Now, you might think that she's kind of a glass half empty person. She states that she's both half empty and half full. It depends on what you do with it. She also says that you need to take what you've been dealt and do something positive with it. And while all of this is very bad, she really feels that this will ultimately be a good thing, because it's really raising awareness of the crap that men and men's right activists go through in the feminist world. And I agree with her. As bad as all of this is going to end up being a really great thing. Anna, I got a few things from Anna. She started off comparing this to a war where you see your comrades fall and you continue to fight. And she didn't really have, this was the first time she really sat down and thought about this. If you don't show the pain done to us, no one will take the time to find out. And that was one of the reasons she was doing this, is she wants people to know the truth about what's really going on and the pain that was caused. You know, and she was also shocked that it was just one incident, you know, standing up, identifying yourself as an MRA and asking a question, and that's all it took to get them banned. You know, she also was disheartened that, you know, all of these people, the Honey Badgers themselves, were kicked out. You know, having the experience ripped away from them, people who put so much time and energy and love into it. You know, this was robbed from them. Allison, Hannah, Brian, Mike. She also says that the message that they came to say really needs to be said, that there is a silent hand trying to control everyone who speaks against them. It's a paraphrase of what she said. Trying to see good and be positive about all of this and cons. She's trying to find the positive element in all of this. She's very sad by this. She's I keep using the word disheartened, but it's a very perfect word in all of this. But you know, she's going to continue going out there and doing what needs to be done, and she's going to continue to go out to cons. Rachel, this was her first con, and being a comic fan and a geek, this was the first time she ever really felt like she was in an environment to where she didn't have to hide anything about herself. She could really be herself. She was excited to meet everyone and those who sent her there, the patrons. She wanted to meet the patrons because the patrons were the ones that sent her there in the first place. The first day, she went to various booths and met people and talked about geeky things. And, you know, despite being kicked out from the con, she still got the opportunity to meet people. And at least she got to have that experience. At least that was given back to her. To my friends, I say this. All of you got a raw deal. This shouldn't have happened. Yeah, people were going to complain and bitch and what have you. And the fact that they went through such an extreme measure to make sure that your experience was ruined because they couldn't stand you to be there, that's just wrong. Dead wrong. I was talking to a feminist friend of mine, and she kind of had this opinion that, you know, you were going there looking for trouble, that you went to a con and you asked a question and all of that at a woman's meeting. But she agrees that the expo fucked up. And she says that because, you know, she once gave a panel discussion on anime and talked to someone who was in costume about hentai, not knowing they were underage. And she was banned from doing any panels at the con. I won't tell you what con it was. I won't tell you who she is. I'm going to protect her identity. But, I mean, she talks about sex to an underage child, and she only gets banned from doing panels at that con. Honey badgers ask a question respectfully and identified themselves, and everyone seemed to be fine, and they get banned from not just one con, but all the cons hosted by this company in Canada. Does that seem right to you? So it's okay to talk to a child about sex, an underage child about sex, but it's bad to say that a feminist is wrong. So I know my friends will come out well from this. I have a lot of faith in them. Until that time, though, they're going to go through a rocky ride, and I'm going to do everything I can to be there for you. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that people know of this, that people don't forget this. This is fucking bullshit, and this is the reason why we're all doing this. We've told people over and over and over again, this is the kind of shit that happens. And now we've just proven it happens. You speak out against feminists, you'll be lucky if you don't go to jail. That's how serious this is all getting. That video of the guy jumping a year in the future and everything was social justice warrior, and you're not allowed to say a female is wrong and everyone is number one. That is what our society is turning into. And that very well could happen. Maybe not next year, but maybe 2 years from now, maybe 5 years from now. This is why we need to fight, and this is why the honey badgers are doing what they're fucking doing. Anyways, that does it for me. I'm going to keep this short. This is Mad Cat signing off.